You're now listening to All Hogs Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
The number 20th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks take on the Georgia Southern Eagles at home this Saturday, September 18th on SEC Network at 3 p.m.
Now, for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
The rushing attack has been near perfect the last few weeks. It's been a running back by committee. Trelon Smith has been the every down back in a lot of situations as he team's rushing leader at 34 carries, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns. True freshman AJ Green has seen the field multiple times in situations where the Hogs need speed. Raheem Sanders has seen the field, and most of the time he just hits down the middle. He's also a true freshman. And then redshirt freshman Dominique Johnson, really to utilize his legs and juking ability on the field. And the thing is, each one of these 4 running backs has their own skill set, and you take it as the game goes. In certain situations, you'll need a back like AJ Green, and in certain situations, you'll need an experienced back like Smith, Sanders to run up the middle, 4th and 2. Just every different situation requires a different back, and as long as Biles is able to use the correct one, this running back by committee will continue to work. And it's been working as Arkansas has averaged 289 rushing yards in their first 2 games. A lot of those rushing yards have been designed KJ Jefferson QB runs. This is the Hogs' secret weapon that not a lot of people are really talking about outside of Arkansas. They think KJ Jefferson's yards are picked up on scrambles and his mobility in the pocket, but there's a lot of playsets that are either fake RPOs or designed run-pass options, or just design runs, period, for KJ Jefferson to get QB runs. And the offensive line goes hand-in-hand with the rushing game, playing better than ever. Stromberg has really stuck out as the dominant center, and then across the line with Jones and Latham at left guard. Left tackle, Cunningham has been extremely solid. Right tackle, you've got Dalton Wagner. He's been solid too. The line has just taken care of what they have to do to create rushing opportunities to win. Now this game is
versus
the Georgia Southern Eagles. Now the anchor of this 3-man front defensive line is CJ Wright, a 300-plus nose tackle. He's got 2.5 sacks in 2 games. And then next to him on the line at edge, you've got Justin Ellis. He's probably one of the top 2 playmakers on this defense along with Wright. And then rounding out the defensive line, you got Springer on the other side. Georgia Southern commonly runs a 3-4 front, and what they really do is just get CJ Wright and Ellis to get pressure on their quarterback, stop runs, and that's when the majority of their defensive game planning comes from, as their secondary has been very underwhelming this season. They let up 38 points to FAU last week. Not a good look there. Now, it's a 3-4 front, so they have about 4 linebackers. I would say, though, their linebackers are quick and shifty. They lost their top 2 starters, so a lot of guys are still going through, getting that experience and playing different positions. For the starting linebackers, you have Randy Wade, Benz Hoseway. Now, these guys did not start last year, but they're starting now. Marquez Watson, Trent, Trey Allen. There's a lot of talent on this defensive line in linebacker 3-4 set. Their pass defense has created 8 sacks in only 2 games, and their rushing defense has allowed 129 yards in the 2 games as well. This is the top strength of their defense, no doubt, and Arkansas has to be able to utilize the passing game, which I'll get to in a second, against Georgia Southern as well to put up 30-plus points. I see Arkansas still running for a good amount. There's just a certain natural ability from the offensive line and running backs that we just have better talent, better strength and conditioning, and that's just how it is when you play a program that is normally group of 5. But again, you don't want to be caught off guard because some of these guys like CJ Wright would probably just do fine in the SEC, but you want to use that ability you have to just be bigger and more talented. It's kind of like when Alabama plays Arkansas, and Alabama's bigger, faster, more talented. Arkansas has to use that edge against their opponents too. Now looking at the Arkansas passing game, KJ Jefferson, the starting quarterback, looking to have his best season yet. The team is averaging around, 130 passing yards per game. And obviously, I'll say it again and over again, the running game will open up the passing game with Jefferson. And the thing is, if we're averaging 7 yards per carry on the field, there's really not a reason to throw the ball. It's just that simple. For the passing game, though, to work efficiently when needed, you're going to have backfield running backs for dump-offs, pass protection, and then really just get the ball to Trelon Burks. He's going to take care of it, push it down the field. A sleeper from the team is Tyson Morris. He's a dog. 4 catches for 87 yards, is the leader on this team. He's also got a touchdown catch. And the thing with Tyson Morris is he gets a lot of catches that are just momentum changers, gets open down the field, he makes blocks down the field, and he puts in the little dirty work on certain plays, even though he's not the primary pass catcher in those. It just sticks out when you watch the game film. And then also Blake Kern in the pass game, along with Ketron Jackson, Warren Thompson, and a couple other guys. I do expect the Arkansas passing game to open up here based off of the rushing game. You're also able to be more risky with bigger leads, so you can throw the ball downfield when you're up 30 instead of, when it's a 14-point game against the number 15 ranked team at the time, like in the Texas game. And then looking at the Georgia Southern secondary here, they allowed 348.5 passing yards, averaging in 2 games, 31.5 points. This secondary has struggled extremely, been very underwhelming despite the other issues on this Georgia Southern team. Anthony Wilson, the strong safety, had 67 tackles last year, probably the best guy in the unit as long as in run stoppage and coverage. Justin Birdsong is a leader on the team in tackles. And then at corner, you got Derek Canteen and Darrell Baker Jr. They're very aggressive corners, but sometimes they get beat off of physicality. They're 6 foot and 5'11". And really, Arkansas is going to win this matchup by just utilizing pass protection and then talent and strength, like I said. When you have Burks lining up against a corner that's 6 foot, 5'11", you want to use your physical advantage, and Burks is probably one of the best athletes on the football field across the whole entire college football world, and just play to your strengths. Like I said, if you're rushing for 6-7 yards a carry, there's not going to be that many times where you throw the ball, but when you throw the ball, you still want it to be effective. I'll get into my predictions for the passing game in my game prediction segment at the end of the show, but I do think it'll open up and the ball will be traveling down the field a lot easier for the Razorbacks in the air. Now, when I normally get to previewing the other team's offense, I talk about Arkansas first. This is an Arkansas podcast. But Georgia Southern runs an offense that's very different from anything the Hogs will see this year and has seen in a long time. That is the triple option. A lot of teams these days just run hurry-up, RPO-type offenses, but the triple option is a lot different. Now, running QB for the Georgia Southern this week is Justin Tomlin. Over the offseason, they lost their QB. Shai worked. He transferred to Louisville to become a wide receiver. They had a pretty successful season last year, 8-5. Fantastic defense, and the offense was just running all over people. Now, Justin Tomlin, he's actually making his first start of the season because he was suspended the first 2 games due to academics. He has some experience, 4 starts in 15 total games he's played in. Nothing really impressive, but nothing too bad there. Now, the last 2 weeks, Georgia Southern has played 3 different quarterbacks, including a wide receiver playing quarterback. But the real part of this triple option is the running back room. And you may ask, what is the triple option? Well, the triple option is where the offense has 3 different players, so since the triple, who have the option to run the ball. And this is usually running backs, quarterbacks, fullbacks, and there's multiple of them. This team is stacked with talent across the running back room. They've averaged 252 yards on the ground so far in their first 2 games. Last season, they averaged around, 270. So in that running back room, you've got number 2, Logan Wright. He's got 30 attempts on the season, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got a 6.9 average yards per carry to go along with that. You got number 5, Amari Jones, 28 attempts, 119 yards. And then also projected starter J.D. King will be back this week from an injury. So those are probably the top 3 running back options for the Eagles. And the thing is, with the triple option, the number one thing you have to have is a good offensive line with quality starters. And Georgia Southern has that, as all 5 offensive line have returned. Now, they have a quality offensive line in terms of the Conference USA and the teams they're playing against, and they really struggled without a QB. But like I said, the triple option is going to run around a solid offensive line, and then they'll have the 3 running backs. Now, Arkansas has a really good rushing defense. Let's not act like they just didn't stop Bijan Robinson, and this is a near impossible task for the Razorbacks. Like I said, though, they're going to have to use that physical advantage up front, use that strength and conditioning from Jameel Walker, and just sometimes out-talent guys and use different skills and elusiveness that really isn't that common in G5 football. And they also have a solid blocker, Bo Johnson, at tight end. So you got those 5 offensive linemen, Bo Johnson, that's pretty solid up front. That's not really a big circle on the team. The passing game and just overall the run option, because Tomlin's going to be running the run option and who to give the ball to when they run, because they'll run probably 60-70% of the time. It's really tough to get a read on this offense because they've played with 3 different quarterbacks and haven't been good. And then also, Tomlin hasn't started a game this year. And even though he hasn't started a game this year, and that may seem scary because you can't look at tape, it's also beneficial because he's going to be working through, first game problems, nerves, things like that. I don't know what the crowd will be this week, but I assume it'll be probably around 65, 70 grand. That stadium can still get loud at that level and, get the quarterback a little nervous. Like KJ Jefferson said his first game, even though he plays for the home team, Arkansas Razorbacks, he got a little nervous. So you just kind of want to shake up Tomlin and, force him to make the bad reads off the triple option, passing game, RPO, anything like that. And then in the passing game, you got Bo Johnson at tight end, like I said, for blocking. Gerald Green as the dump-off running back the last 2 weeks. And then your wide receiver 2 for the Eagles last season was Caleb Hood, probably wide receiver 1 now with Tomlin back. He had 15 catches for 224 yards last season. Really just a tough read to figure out how this Georgia Southern team will look under Tomlin, but they're running that triple option and the 3-4 front on defense. Arkansas will have to counter that triple option by stacking the box and really focusing on the running backs and making effective tackles using safeties, linebackers, and the defensive line. I'll get into those previews here in a sec after this short break. Now how Arkansas lines up on the defensive side. On the defensive line, you got John Ridgway, 6 tackles and 1 sack in his debut. He's a one-man wrecking crew for every center that is on the schedule. Trey Williams, fantastic pass rusher along with Zach Williams. Isaiah Nichols, also a good pass rusher. Markel Uzi on the line as well. I was concerned about this unit going into the season, but I'm really not. We ran a 3-2 front against Texas and dominated in the rushing game. I would see some 4-2 fronts, 4-3 maybe a little bit, stacking the box every once in a while, depending on this triple option that Georgia Southern is going to challenge the Hogs with. At linebacker for Arkansas, you got Hayden Henry with 20 tackles. He's over Bumper Pool in the depth chart. Bumper Pool has a team high 24 tackles in 3 halves. Now, Grant Morgan is day-to-day, but he practiced. This dude is just tough as nails. There's never going to be a point where he's probably going to willingly bench himself. You mean last season, he had that shoulder, wrap on forever and was still picking off guys. He embodies what it means to be a Razorback and never quit. I love guys with that attitude. If there's, the slightest chance that he could be held out, he's going to go out there and put it on for the Hogs. Now in the secondary, you got Catalan and Fouché on tackling that triple option running back. These guys are 1,000% motor,